Marlene Holt, Martell Holt's mother, finally spoke her raw and unfiltered thoughts about her son, about Melody Shari, and yes, even about Arionne Curry. From the very first second, you could tell this wasn't some casual comment or playful shade. This was years of bottled up pain, disappointment, and love crashing down in front of our eyes. And I need you to stay with me till the very end of this video because the way this story unfolds will leave you speechless. Trust me, it only gets heavier and more powerful the deeper we go. When Marlene sat there talking, you could see it in her eyes before she even opened her mouth. That wasn't the face of a mother just lightly scolding her son. That was the heartbreak of a woman who had watched her boy throw away everything good he ever had and keep smiling like nothing was wrong. She didn't yell, she didn't scream, but every single word she spoke carried a weight that you cannot fake. And that's the type of honesty that hits harder than anything else. Because when your own mother looks at you like that, the truth cuts all the way through. Marlene didn't just talk about Martell as her son, she talked about the family he once had, the life that slipped through his fingers, and the woman who helped him hold it all together for as long as possible. She spoke about Melody Shari, not like an ex-daughter-in-law she had lost, but like the daughter she still wished she had in her life. And that's where things started to get real, because you could feel the respect in her tone. She remembered the way Melody carried herself, how she brought light and stability into Martell's world, and how she made sure that the family name never crumbled, even when Martell was out here making mistakes that would have torn other families apart. Melody was the peacekeeper, the planner, the one who kept everything in order, and Marlene saw it all with her own eyes. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. Moms always know. A mother doesn't need the internet, social media, or gossip blogs to tell her who's good for her child. She feels it in her bones. And Marlene made it clear without even trying. Melody was the one who made Martell look like he had it all together, even when behind the scenes he was doing the complete opposite. That kind of statement doesn't just sting Martell, it exposes the truth in a way nobody else could ever say it. Because coming from your own mother, it hits different. And this is why you need to watch until the very end, because what she revealed about Arionne Curry takes this whole story to another level. When Marlene shifted her words toward Arian, everything about her energy changed. She didn't even have to insult her. The disappointment was dripping off every syllable. She said something that made everybody's jaw drop. She didn't call what Martell and Arian had a relationship. She didn't call it love. She called it an incident. Do you know how heavy that word is? That's the type of word you use when you can't even bring yourself to describe something with any real value. She basically stripped all meaning from that entire decade-long situation with one single word. Not love, not a partnership, just an incident. And that's why I need you to stay locked in with me, because this one moment right here revealed more than Martell probably wanted anybody to know. Calling it an incident wasn't just Marlene throwing shade. It was grief. It was pain. It was the voice of a mother who had spent years up at night praying for clarity, only to realize the truth had been right in front of her the whole time. She wasn't even angry at Arian personally. She was angry at what Arian represented. Chaos, dysfunction, and a complete detour from the path that Martell was supposed to be on. And the more Marlene spoke, the clearer it became that she had lost more than just a daughter-in-law. She had lost the version of her son that had a clear vision, that had a purpose, that once had a woman by his side pushing him toward greatness instead of dragging him down into drama. Let's be real here. Everyone who's watched Love and Marriage Huntsville knows that Melody and Martell together had the potential to be unstoppable. They were building businesses, raising beautiful kids, and putting Huntsville on the map in ways that nobody else in the cast was doing at that time. Yes, Morris Scott had his law practice. Yes, Mar Scott had the construction projects. Yes, Kimmy Scott had her career. And yes, Miss Wanda was always stirring the pot in her own way. But Martell and Melody, They were the power couple. They had direction. And Marlene remembered it all. She remembered the family dinners, the kids laughing, the way Melody balanced out Martell's impulsive side. That was the future Martell had, and he threw it away. And here's where Marlene's honesty cuts the deepest. She didn't just criticize Martell for cheating or for making mistakes. She called him out for never learning from those mistakes. The court battles, the financial losses, the humiliation. None of it seemed to stick. He's still justifying, still spinning excuses, still holding on to the idea that somehow, if he waits long enough, it will all magically work out. But Marlene wasn't buying it. She saw straight through Martell's rehearsed explanations, and she wasn't clapping for dysfunction anymore. That's the kind of tough love that even Martell couldn't argue with. But let's go even deeper here, because Marlene also talked about Maverick, Martell's youngest child with Arian, and this part was heartbreaking. She made it clear that she loves her grandson. That has never been in question. But you could see the pain in her eyes when she mentioned him, because Maverick wasn't just a child, he was a symbol, a reminder of the exact moment when everything shattered. And while it's not Maverick's fault, of course it isn't, his very existence is tied to decisions that completely rewrote the whole family story. Every time Marlene sees him, she's reminded of what was lost. That's a wound that doesn't heal overnight. Meanwhile, Melody Shari is out here thriving in silence. She doesn't need to yell, doesn't need to throw shade, doesn't even need to clap back on social media half the time. She's signing deals, growing her brand, appearing in interviews, raising her kids with grace, and looking polished while chaos swirls on the other side. And here's the thing, Marlene didn't even have to say it directly. The contrast between Melody and Arian speaks for itself. One woman builds, the other drains. One brings peace, the other brings noise. And Martell still can't see it. Or maybe he just refuses to admit it. And that's the tragedy of this entire situation. Marlene doesn't just see her son making bad choices. She sees him wasting his potential, wasting his legacy, wasting the foundation he once had. Every time he tries to tell her that things will be different, it's like watching a man build a mansion on sand. And every time Ariane comes up in the conversation, Marlene can barely hide her frustration. It's been over a decade, and still no marriage, no stability, no growth, just chaos repeating itself like reruns of the same old drama. And Marlene, she's tired. Tired of nodding quietly, tired of watching him spiral, tired of carrying the weight of what once was. Now, here's where I need you to stick with me, because this part right here says everything. Marlene admitted that Martell still has time. He's not too far gone. He could still turn things around. But every choice he makes from here on out will determine whether he walks back into his purpose or keeps circling the drain. And that's the hardest part for a mother, loving your child no matter what, but refusing to clap for dysfunction. She said her truth, and she said it with finality. No more excuses, no more pretending, just truth. And you know what? The rest of the cast sees it too. Morris Scott, Mars Scott, Kimmy Scott, Miss Wanda have all had their say about Martell at different times, but none of their words cut like Marlene's. Because when your own mom looks at you and calls your relationship an incident, when she makes it clear that you had the blueprint for success with Melody, but chose chaos instead, that's the rawest accountability you're ever going to get. So let me tell you this. Martell Holt may still be out here trying to juggle co-parenting drama with Melody, side conversations with Ariane, and his public image all at once, but the truth has already been spoken. His mother said it, and once it's said out loud, it can't be taken back. Marlene gave us the most honest breakdown of this entire saga we've ever seen. And it wasn't for the cameras, it was for her son, for her family, and for the legacy that she refuses to watch disappear completely. And as we wrap this up, I want you to think about one last thing. Melody Cherie's presence still lingers in every corner of the story, not literally, but emotionally. Marlene remembers the holidays, the laughter, the unity, the business plans, the balance. She remembered the progress. And now all she sees is silence, court documents, and a son stuck in the same old mistakes.